what would it look like if I just went for all of it? If I just didn't hold back and I did everything scared, and what would that feel like? How much more proud would I be of myself? Because we had already accomplished so much at that point too, but it was all of what happened between now and then was up here for me. It was just like accepting that God has called me to things that are uncomfortable for me and me just doing it. Like not trying to rationalize it with him or, well, I don't like that part about it.
Hey everyone, welcome to the Tori Cruz Show, where we're shining a light on real conversations and transformational stories with some of the most dynamic entrepreneurs and faith-driven leaders you'll ever meet. I'm Tori Cruz, your host, entrepreneur, virtual stylist, and former Miss Missouri USA, ready to guide you along this exciting journey. This isn't just any podcast. It's your new home for stories that uplift, conversations that transform, and a community that feels like family. From the real challenges to the exhilarating moments of achievement, we cover it all, infused with adventure, laughter, insights, and heartfelt discussions. So settle in, make yourself comfortable, and let's get this show on the road. This is the Tori Cruz Show.
Today we are in Nashville, Tennessee, in the heart of Nashville, actually, with Natalie Burt. I am so excited. Natalie is one of my dear friends, and also have had the honor of working with her, styling your beautiful outfits for all your events and retreats. But Natalie is the founder of the couples retreats, Living with a Monster, and she's an author, she's a mom, she's a wife, and just an incredible entrepreneur. So welcome to the show.
Hey,
I'm
welcome
so
to
excited.
Nashville.
Yeah, this is amazing. Well, thank you for having us in your condo here in downtown Nashville with this gorgeous skyline. I walked in here and I was like, oh my gosh,
no one
girl.
gets to come in here.
I feel honored.
You feel special.
I feel so special. So I am so excited just to talk about your story today and how you got to where you are, because you have so many different moving parts in your life. And going back from way in the beginning, where did you have a really strong passion for hospitality.
That's right.
So where did that really stem from, and what do you do now that includes that hospitality into your business?
I feel like that is a birthday gift that I got from God. That's what we call them. I feel like everyone is born with unique gifts and talents. And it is something we do discuss at our couples retreats, because I think it's really important that you find it and use it, even if it's within your business. So about 13 years ago, when I met my husband, who's Coach Michael Burt, a business coach, he prompted me to pull out those gifts and talents that I had. And I think what's so cool about that is it is so natural to you that it's really hard to see and find within yourself. So you have to have someone else say, like my sister for me said, oh, you totally have the gift of hospitality. And I was like, I do. So then I got to thinking about how I'd catered my own birthday parties and just collected serving trays and anything to serve and make people feel special. I just loved it. And so that's really when I went down the path of, okay, how can I use this within our business?
Yeah.
You know?
And so Coach Michael Burt is a business coach. So how did you first weave that into your coaching and training business?
Well, everything we do is event-based. So boot camps, live trainings, retreats, anything like that. So for me, it was just a natural thing of let's add this aspect to our events. So most conferences or events are held at a hotel or something like that, some kind of conference room. Well, we have a lodge where we have a training facility there, and I do all of the meals for our events. So for me, it was a natural missing piece of the business.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Yeah. And you just totally complemented everything else that you're already doing. Yeah. So if there's somebody listening right now, there's a lot of entrepreneurs who listen to this show. So if there's somebody listening right now and they're a little bit confused about where they're at right now in their journey or maybe they're uncertain of what that gift is there any certain step or things that they should listen to?
Yes.
In order to find that special talent, find that special gift so they can live out their full calling?
So the questions my husband asked me, it come straight from Dan Sullivan's book. It's called Unique Ability. And so it's, what do you love doing? What are you naturally curious about? Where is there a need in the world that can be fulfilled through your gift? And what is your conscience telling you should be doing? So all of those working together, because you can be really gifted at something, but it can't make you any money. So we're looking for all the things to work together so that you can actually monetize on your gift. And the cool thing about that is it doesn't feel like work because you're so passionate about it and you're naturally gifted at it. It doesn't feel like you're working.
Yes. Oh my gosh, that's so true too. Literally the podcast here, right?
Yeah.
I don't feel like this is working because it's
It's
fun.
Yeah.
And like to weave in fun and faith
Yes.
into
Yes.
your business.
Yeah.
And having those components, but then also living out your calling and your purpose
Yes.
and that natural God-given gift. And I remember the first time that we met, well, actually it was the second time we met, but when I came to the lodge and you were doing the hospitality, it was everything professional.
Yeah.
And
you. Yeah.
it's top notch. And then now you're doing that with your couples retreats down in Florida. So tell everybody what the couples retreats are like and what they can expect if there's somebody who wants to sign up.
So it's 2.5 days of a lot of fun with your spouse. And I know as entrepreneurs, like we don't do that. We don't take enough time to say, I'm going to go focus on my marriage. And we do talk business for those of you that have to have that, like my husband. So we typically have the entrepreneur and the spouse, whether it be man or, it's either one.
Either.
So we come in on Thursday night, we do a dinner. It's either at our house or at the beach, which is really cool. And then we do coaching from 10 to 2 on Friday and Saturday. And that's set up on purpose for you to relax in the mornings with your significant other, whether you're walking on the beach, you're getting coffee together, riding your bike, like whatever, just to relax because we know you probably don't get to sleep in or you probably don't ever do that. And so everything about the retreat is intentionally set up for you to reconnect and get in alignment with each other on what the goals are of your business and your life and where you're trying to go together.
I love this. The one thing that I really like about the couples retreats is that you're providing a space for people. It's just you're really providing that container for spouses to reconnect, like you said. And it's not like you're coming in, you're doing this like huge immersive of, oh my gosh, now I'm just overwhelmed with all of these to-dos that we have to do when we get home. Sure, they probably have some takeaways that they go and implement. But the biggest thing is that you're providing a safe, fun environment for spouses to reconnect.
Yes.
And you have such a special gift to make other people
Thank you.
feel that way too, and just like safe and fun and the joy that it brings to have those couples retreats. And actually, I've had friends come up to me that I still don't think have been to the retreats, but they're like, oh, I've heard of Coach Burt and Natalie's couple retreats. Do you know them? Do you know what I mean? I'm like, I do know them, just a little bit. Yes. And you should go down to the couples retreats.
Yes.
But I just think those are so amazing. So if somebody is wanting to learn more about it, where can they find more information?
So you can go to coachburt.com/event and all of our couples retreats are listed on there.
Okay. Awesome. Yeah, definitely go check that out. If you have a spouse, if you're wanting to reconnect, it's all about, right, like connecting with a driven, like one of you, there's always one who's a little bit more driven in the relationship. I don't think you can have two that are just insane. Like
we do sometimes, and that can cause a problem just because when you're driven, you don't really slow down to actually communicate.
Yes.
Like why I'm doing this and if you have two people that aren't doing that, you really do need to set aside some time to just be like, okay, here's what we're trying to accomplish. Here's where we're trying to go, and just make it more of a fun process.
Yes. So, okay, from like 10 to 2, I kind of want to dissect what's in between there because there's probably a lot of couples who are listening to this and they're wanting to know, like, what is the first step that you actually like go through when somebody's like, hey, he's very driven. We'll just say he, or I know it's he or she, but we'll just say the husband's really driven. The wife is very driven too. But how do you bring them together? What is that first step in like, hey, this is our vision? Yeah. And really dissecting that
The very
component.
first thing that we do is an exercise we call A to B. And it really they list out their current reality and their ideal reality. And we find a lot of times that spouses have a different idea of what that is. So this exercise is very important. So then after we write those things down, so it may, like ours, like I'll give you an example. Our B, like our ideal reality, may be our passive income is greater than our living expenses. That is a major goal that we have. And so I know that when we're working hard and we're doing this or that, then I know, okay, we're working towards this goal that we have over here. And it's something that we have to talk about all the time. It's just, I know because we have talked about it and we've set that goal, this is where we're trying to go. But after we set those things, then we talk about what needs to happen in between current and ideal for you to actually reach that? Is it you need to hire some people because you don't like managing employees? Is it you need to fire somebody? Is it, and sometimes it's really a who can help me get here, not just a what or a thing you have to do. It's who can help me.
That's good.
And then everything else the rest of the weekend builds on that. So we have to set that foundation of like, what are you trying to do? Where are you trying to go together? Get really clear on that. And we spend a good amount of time on that because it's really important. And then we build on that throughout the weekend.
Do you ever find with couples that it's hard to really identify that process from getting from point A, from their current reality, to where they want to go?
I think it's more of that they have frustrations, but they've never written it down.
Yes.
They've never said this is the actual problem. They've never admitted it or acknowledged it to actually move to the next step. So just getting that down of what is really bothering you.
Yeah.
Away from your office in a fun beach town with your spouse. It's very relaxing. So it seems to be a really easy exercise to me.
Yeah, and it seems like a space where it allows them to open up.
Oh, yeah.
On such a much like deeper level.
Yeah.
And then they know they're going to go to the beach afterwards.
That's right.
It's fun.
Or dinner or date night or whatever they want to do.
Yeah. That's so awesome. So it's just one day.
So it's 2 days. So we
2
do
days.
the dinner the first night, and then and the dinner is just like a meet and greet. Everybody talk and get to know each other. And then we do coaching 10 to 2 on Friday and Saturday.
Okay. So is that dinner the beautiful beach dinner, like where you're in a circle, there's like a fire pit?
It's like boho, beachy.
Those are my favorite events to style you for. Literally, the beach events because you can just go straight beachy.
Yes.
And oh my gosh, yeah, those are so fun. Okay, so you start with the current reality and then you go to their ideal reality.
Yes.
What is like have you ever had just like a breakthrough moment with one of the couples where you're like, wow, like this just happened. Like they were so misaligned and they hadn't even communicated. And then now it's so cool. Like you provided this space, even if you're just guiding the ship, right? As their mentor.
Yeah.
But it's like you're providing this space for them to have this incredible breakthrough that could literally, you've probably saved marriages already.
I do agree with that, and that's very humbling to think about it like that because it is so fun to do. But we have had a couple of different scenarios where one lady even told us after the fact, she's like, we've been in counseling for 5 years, and this is the first time he's ever understood me.
Wow.
And she was the monster. We've had another couple.
Can we just say how great that is? And she was the monster.
She was the monster. Let me just say, too, it's not therapy. Like, we don't go there. We don't tell your darkest secrets. We give you a structure and you go work on it. It's not, we don't get into all that. However, we did have a couple walk in and they're like, if this doesn't work, this is it. And I was like, no pressure
at all.
Yeah. But really, and I knew both of their businesses very well. And so I really just sat down with them. And I think their biggest issue was, he had quit his job to help her and she had started a business and it was like her baby and she didn't want to give up any part of it to let him help her. And I just said, no, like he has great ideas. You need to let him help you. He's your husband. He wants to help you.
Yeah. Wow.
And
I know. When you just said that, I got too.
So I think, and it was just a realization of, okay, I can let him help me. And so that was just a huge, and they left happy and everything was great.
Wow.
And so it is very impactful what we do, but it's also a lot of fun. So I don't really ever think about it like that. But yeah.
Yeah. No, it is. And just by seeing the emotion in your face, you're so convicted of this. Like you're changing marriages and you're saving marriages. So it's a beautiful thing.
Yes.
And just having that mentorship for people who are in relationships. I think I've told you before, I'm going to go to this retreat with my spouse
one day.
We'll get you there. This is going to be like my part of my premarital health.
Hey, we had a couple there last time they were about to get married. And I was
Really?
like, can I market this as premarital counseling? We're like, let's see how they do first. But if they don't make it, we're not marketing for premarital counseling. We'll let you know how.
Yeah, I'll be a guinea pig for it too.
Okay.
Maybe you can market me for the premarital sometime. Yeah.
Okay.
One thing that you were saying that really popped out was you said the two driven people, and she didn't want to bring her husband in, but he wanted to help, and he did have valuable advice and ideas and gifts that he could provide for her business. Do you ever find that it's really hard sometimes for the driven person to receive?
I mean, yes. Even in our relationship, I think it's just when your mind thinks that way, it's got to be me. It has to be done this way. And so I think it is hard for them to just let anybody else, their spouse, help them.
Yeah. And where did this stem from with you and Michael? Like, where did this passion come from where it's like, hey, I think we're going to do couples retreats?
Well, so after he volunteered me to write the book.
Wait, you got to tell everybody this story. Okay. This is hilarious with her living with the monster book.
So back when we first met, it was probably, I don't know, we were 3 years in. And if you're married, like, it's not at all what you thought it would be. Marriage it's not in a good way. Like, it's so much better than I thought, but also it's way different than I thought. And so I had this idea of he would be home at 5 every day, and like we would have dinner together as a family.
Wrong man.
And I'm like, okay, yeah. So that
5 in the morning, you mean?
Yeah.
Just coming up from the office?
Still to this day never happens. And we had never talked about it. I just assumed that's what would happen. And so we had this joke because he had a coaching program called Monster Producer at the time for entrepreneurs. And I would make a joke at home. I'm going to write a book called Living with the Monster and tell people what it's really like living with somebody so driven. People don't know. And so still joking about it, he spoke at 10X Growth Con in 2018. And after he spoke, he posted on Facebook, I want to congratulate my wife for writing her first book, Living with the Monster. And my phone starts blowing up and I'm like, 500 comments. Can't wait to read it. This is so awesome. Congratulations. And I'm like, what? I was so mad. I was so mad. At the end of the day, he told me, he said, your desire to help people has got to be greater than your desire to be comfortable. And you have a message. And so I wrote the book and it wasn't as hard as I thought it would be. But then he said, what do you want to do with this book? And I'm like, now I have to do something with it? Like I just wrote the book. So then I thought, well, I don't want to do coaching the way he does. I mean, we have 3 kids. There's no way I can do what he does in the capacity that he does, but I can do retreats. And so that's where the couples retreat was born.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing. I love that story. It never gets old.
I know. It's crazy.
So you said voluntold. Like that's,
voluntold.
Yeah. Voluntold.
And he still does that to me. He's done it to me multiple times. And I just.
So what is the next thing?
He hasn't done it in a while.
Oh gosh, look out.
Yeah.
It might happen today. Don't go on Facebook. So there's something coming.
Yeah.
Yes. But the retreats, you're in a great place right now with these retreats where it's been so incredible to see you grow through them. And now they're just like blossoming into just so much more. And I really feel like you're having so much fun with it too.
I am.
Like it brings you joy.
Well, it's meaningful work. So if you think about too, I've realized like developing my gift of hospitality, that it's not just about food. It has to do with environment, the way that you feel when you're in a space I've created or an event I've created. So knowing that, it goes back to all those questions. So I'm using that gift within the retreats. We're making money from the retreats, but it's also meaningful work. So there's a need in the world that's going to pay me for my gift. It's been fun to really dig in there and go after my potential.
Yeah.
And not just be a stay-at-home mom supporting my husband anymore.
That's literally that was a perfect segue to where I wanted to go, because I think it's what has inspired me so much about you. The first time we met, we need to tell everybody, how we met first, but that was, how many years ago was that? At an Optavia health conference.
Can I tell this story?
Yes.
Because there's 3,000 people. I know the hosts. That's it. I don't know anyone else in the room. And it's lunchtime and everyone goes outside for lunch. And I'm like, and I'm pretty independent. Like I'm fine. I was sitting by myself during the conference. I really didn't care about that because I'm like, I'm trying to soak in what I need. But we go out for lunch and everyone's got their people. And she comes up to me and she's, are you Coach Burke's wife? And I'm like, yes. She's come up here and sit with me and Aunt Deb. So we sat and we talked. And I think then, so I have to do this now. This keeps coming up for me. I have to do this now. I told you then I wanted to start a podcast.
Oh my gosh,
and
you did.
And I haven't done it yet.
That was like our first conversation.
I know.
And I said, you can do it.
Yeah.
You
have to do this.
Yes.
So that was several years ago, so I have to do that now.
I think it's 2024.
Yeah.
That's the launch of What Would It Be Living with a Monster podcast. Of course. Stay on brand, girl. Why not?
Well, I just think it'd be cool to interview other women who are married to driven men, whether it be athletes, entertainers, and it doesn't necessarily have to be the wife. I'm just saying, like, that is something that no one's talking about.
It
like
is.
How they make it work. What are some tips they have for us? So
Yeah, no, that is so awesome. And so, yeah, we met, I don't know how, it was a few years ago.
Yeah.
But that was literally the start of our friendship. And just playing off of that too, when anybody listening here, if you're going to an event, don't be scared to just branch out. You never know who you're going to meet. Always invite somebody to your table, because now we've had this amazing friendship.
It is.
We've
It's
had
been amazing.
business opportunities from this, like literally a whole full circle. And then now we're actually we're both in a mastermind together, which is faith-based entrepreneurs. And it's just, it's so cool to see what God has done with our friendship.
Cool. Well, thank you for being so welcoming. That was really cool to be like, okay. And then we found out that we like the same kind of wine.
And then we bonded over a quill. Cabernet.
Yes.
And it's we've been friends ever since. Yeah, and steak. I think we went over to Fleming's for dinner.
We did.
Had a glass of wine and steak.
So funny.
Yeah. But no, I think just going to events, putting yourself out there, inviting people to your table is so important. But also one of the things that I really admire about you, the growth that you've had from then to now, you were like a different person, I feel like.
I agree.
And like just all together with like your faith has grown tremendously, your business definitely, physically, your health, like everything, like your mindset, it's really cool to see. And so what would you say if somebody wants that, just a transformation?
Yeah.
What is that first step, whether it is health, business, faith? What do you recommend that they do just to really identify what that place is and then take action on it?
So at the beginning of 2023, I was 5 months postpartum with our third child. I was 42 years old. I was probably 60 pounds heavier than I am right now. But I knew that God was calling me to a place of just a lot more. Yeah. And so I had to get it all right, if that makes sense. And it wasn't even just losing weight. It was up here too.
Yeah.
So that's really when I went and on the search for a coach of my own, because I didn't want my husband coaching me.
That might not work out,
But anyway, I wanted a faith-based, I wanted somebody pouring into me because we pour out so much. That was my main goal with that. And so I found Brooke Thomas's Elite Mastermind, and I got super healthy. I really just had a really hard conversation with myself of what would this look like? What would it look like if I just went for all of it? If I just didn't hold back and I did everything scared, and what would that feel like? How much more proud would I be of myself? Because we had already accomplished so much at that point too, but it was all of what happened between now and then was up here for me. It was just like accepting that God has called me to things that are uncomfortable for me and me just doing it. Like not trying to rationalize it with him or, well, I don't like that part about it. Can I do it this way?
Come on, guys, get you do it my way a little bit.
I think the biggest thing I did was get really clear on what I wanted, and then I made a decision. Yeah. And if you've heard my husband talk about this, the word decision means to cut away, just like incision means to cut into. So when you cut away, when you make a decision, you cut away. So you may cut away shame, guilt, unworthiness, anything you're feeling that's holding you back, or anything, not just a feeling, anything that's holding you back, you cut away and make that decision. And when you decide, you go all in. That's what that means.
And you did. You went all in.
And I did.
And she did it with God, because I mean, one of the coolest things too is we're in this mastermind together, and it's faith-based women.
Yes.
And how powerful do you feel it is to surround yourself with women who are also along this journey with you, but then you add the faith component to it as well, even more alignment?
It's something that I always needed, but I never knew was out there. I'd never, ever seen someone put scripture into business the way Brooke does.
Yes, it's impressive.
It is.
Yeah.
It's a gift.
It is.
It is a real gift. And so everything we do is based on scripture. And I love that, because part of And I think at least the way I was raised is your business is over here, and then you go to church on Sunday and Wednesday, and we don't mix the two together because we don't want to offend anybody. And I'm like, no, but I'm doing what I'm doing because God has called me to do it. So why couldn't I mix it all together?
Yes. Yeah, when it's your calling.
Yeah.
It's funny to think that we thought differently at one point, because it's your calling that God has given you, and you're walking in your purpose. So why not share that purpose and share that light and give glory to God for bringing that gift to you? Yeah. So as far as like mentorship goes, of course, you're a mentor to multiple people, to couples, which is funny because when I say that to you, it feels like you're like, wait, weird. I never thought about that. Yeah. But you're a mentor to so many people. You're an inspiration to thousands, and I'm going to say millions very soon. And also, Coach Burt, of course, your husband, he's a mentor to many, many people. Yes. How important do you think it is for people to find mentors in the categories of their life that maybe they're not necessarily experts in?
Yeah. Well, I just remember when he and I met and the things that he pulled out of me. Yeah. He's not just a motivational speaker. He is a true coach, like from a basketball coaching days to now. And how I feel a coach is different than a motivational speaker is they see something in you, they call it out and pull it out of you and affirm it until you end up believing it in yourself. That's what a real coach does. And so I feel like we cannot reach our own potential without a coach or a mentor. It's just, you're going to have somebody call it out in you until you believe it about yourself.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, so true. Okay, so as we kind of wrap up here, we cannot even have a conversation without mentioning your 3 little kiddos.
Oh.
Because they're the cutest little things they do. Oh my goodness. Every time you post pictures,
they are pretty sweet.
Oh my gosh, you're so sweet. But you have so much going on in your life. And I think one of the biggest things for a lot of entrepreneurs is time management. Yeah. It's like, how in the world do you do it all? I know I've told you countless times, I don't even know how many times by now, but I'm like, I'm going to be calling you on speed dial when I have kids someday. Yep. Because you're running businesses, multiple businesses, and you have your marriage, of course, you have faith, you have your kiddos. Like, how do you do it all and manage your time so you don't get completely overwhelmed 24/7? I think it's natural for everybody to get overwhelmed at certain times of their life. But
well, I'm not going to act like it's easy.
Yeah.
Because it's not. There's a lot. I'm being pulled in a lot of directions most of the time. But I think having help was the first thing. I think my son was 5 months old when I had really never stopped working, and I got super, super sick and just was like, I cannot do this anymore. I'm either going to have to just be a mom or I'm going to have some help. And so my husband's like, well, we can't not have you. So the first thing we did was we got a nanny to help with our kids so that I can do stuff like this during the day. And
yeah, I think that's so important too, is that it goes back to that receiving muscle that I was talking about earlier, where it's sometimes harder for driven people to receive, but then also to ask for help because we think we can do it all, all the time.
And you can, but you're going to be exhausted. You're not going to have any time or attention for the people that you're actually doing all of it for.
Yeah, I feel like you're not going to be able to show up for your marriage, your kids, yourself.
Yeah.
Don't forget about you. Yeah. You're not going to be able to show up with the fullest energy and capacity and liveliness and joy for zest for life. You start to lose that, I can imagine. So if there's any moms who are listening to this, what would be that piece of advice for them to relieve that overwhelm on the days that it is stressful, when there's a lot on their plate, when they think they're like, can't get above water?
You kind of nailed it. Don't be afraid to ask for help. Or and I know we just went for it. I was like, we need a full-time nanny.
If we can get 3, maybe that would help one week.
Yeah. I've actually thought about that.
Maybe, I don't know. Maybe I just manifested something for you.
Okay. Well, they all have different needs, and you know what I'm saying.
Oh yeah.
They're different ages, so that was like a huge step for us. So even if it's like an afternoon a week or a certain time that you feel like you would be your best to have some self-care time or whatever, don't be afraid to ask for help or hire a sitter for a few hours on a certain day.
Yeah. No, I love that. And it is so important. You have to ask for help. And even if you don't have kids, listening to this, it's like you're in that, if you're in a season of life where it is overwhelming, still ask for help in whatever area that you need help in. So this has been so much fun sitting here talking with you. I could literally talk to you for hours. I think we need to go grab lunch or something.
We are.
We're down here in Nashville. So Oh my gosh, this is so much fun. So thank you for coming on the show
Of
today.
course. Thanks for
and
coming.
you know what? Like you are such an inspiration for so many people. You're an inspiration for me.
Thank
I look up
you.
to you in so many different ways. And I'm just so excited to someday go down to your couples retreat.
Oh, you're coming.
I can't wait.
We're going.
I can't wait. But how can people find you on social media, website? Of course, the couples retreats we talked about a little bit earlier. We'll put
Okay,
everything in the show
so
notes.
Natalie G. Burt on Instagram, just Natalie Burt on Facebook. NatalieBurt.com is coming soon.
Let's
So
go.
Not here yet, but coming soon. And then all of our events are on CoachBurt.com.
Amazing. Well, everybody go check out the retreats. If you're married, if you're wanting that time to reconnect, revive with your spouse, they are seriously incredible and had incredible transformations too. So thank you for coming on the show. And
you.
I'm so excited to just continue to see what God does with our friendship. You're just a beautiful gift to this world. So
Thank you.
keep shining, my friend.
Thank you.
Thanks for tuning in to the Tori Cruz Show. If today's episode inspired you, let's keep the momentum going. For our YouTube family, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe, and ring the bell so you're always in the loop with our latest episodes. And for our podcast listeners, your ratings and reviews are incredibly valuable. They help us reach more people and continue bringing inspiring stories your way. Remember, this isn't just a podcast, it's a growing community of family. Every like, share, and review helps us grow on our journey together, helping us to highlight more impactful stories. Until next time, keep being the light for yourself and others. See you on the next adventure.